Hi Taurus, and welcome to your horoscope for May 2025. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and happy birthday first of all. My horoscopes are based on the UK time zone, and please watch them in this order: for your rising sign first, then for your sun sign, and finally for your moon sign. So I'm going to break May down into 4 weeks, and I'm going to pay particular attention to what the moon is doing, how it moves through your chart, what areas of life it supports you, and when, so that you know what's coming up for you here in the month of May. So week one, which isn't really much of a week, it's 4 days. It's Thursday the 1st until Sunday the 4th of May. On the 1st of May, we have the moon in Gemini, and that is in your second house of money, and it's next to Jupiter, the planet of good luck and good fortune, which is also in Gemini in your second house of money. So the first of the month is really a great time for you to get that brilliant idea, that wonderful business idea that's going to transform your life into one filled with riches and abundance. And I'm not joking. Pay attention to what occurs to you on the first of the month. Something positive may happen in the sense that you get a windfall, you actually receive more money, or that you receive the idea to create money in future. Now, the 1st of May is Beltane, it's a Celtic festival, and it means that we're halfway from the spring equinox to the summer solstice. And it was at this time of the year here in the British Isles that they used to put the cattle back out onto the fields, and people started to realize that warmth was coming back into the world, and that things were on the way to becoming much more abundant, and life was going to bloom and flourish and blossom. Now, I don't have any Farsi, so excuse my pronunciation, but there's a ritual called Chahashanbi Suri, which is a fire festival, and it happened on the 18th of March this year. And it's the day before Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year. And the reason I want to mention that is it occurred to me that in this fire festival, what they do is they create a small or a big fire, and the person needs to gather all of their bravery, their courage to jump over this fire into an unknown future. So it's a commitment, it's a symbolic gesture that says, I am jumping into a new year, and I'm doing that with full force. And also, by jumping over the fire, what it does is it burns away any of the things that you're carrying with you. It detoxes you, it cleanses you, and it refreshes you for the new year. So look at this month, part of it being your birthday month, as a new beginning, as the first time where you get to build your hopes and dreams in earnest, and where you can use your energy and your life force to build things that don't exist yet, that are going to create real wealth in your life. On the 2nd and 3rd, the moon moves into Cancer, and it goes into your 3rd house of communication. So this is a good day to take care of your admin, to get all your paperwork sorted out. Maybe it may be the taxes. Hades is sitting in there as well in Cancer. So it may be information that you're not particularly delighted to look at. Maybe it's things that you would rather procrastinate on. The 2nd and 3rd are great to be hands-on with those kind of things, to get everything ticked off, to get the to-do list sorted out, and to get yourself organized for the rest of the month so that you can thrive and that things are in place and taken care of. On the 4th of May, the moon moves into Leo, and it goes into your 4th house of family and your roots and what makes you feel like you belong. And we also have Mars in Leo in there, and we have the transiting ascendant at 22 degrees in Leo in there too. The ascendant is really your default setting. It's what you naturally embody. So this is interesting because on the 4th of May, If there's someone in your family who tries to push you down, who insults you, who says, oh, you'll never make it, you don't have the talent, you're not good enough, you're going to react to that kind of thing kind of forcefully. And there may be some conflict, but it's not conflict that is negative. It's conflict that can really free you up from this kind of negative influence in your life, which constantly tells you you can't for whatever reason. You're not clever enough, you're not good enough, you're not educated enough, you're not this enough, whatever enough. On the 4th, if you find yourself getting into it with a family member, then expect yourself to not necessarily be right, but at least you're standing up for yourself, and at least you're giving yourself credit that, do you know what? I can't thrive and live my life constantly being put down. At some point, I need to build myself up, and I need to say, I am amazing. And even if I don't know every detail just yet, I can learn every detail as I go. But I need to sometimes fake it to make it. Sometimes I need to act as if to make sure that good things happen to me. And then on the other side of the chart, Pluto, the planet of transformation and change, that goes retrograde until the 13th of October. With the outer planets, when they go retrograde, the energy is expressed inwardly rather than outwardly. And in your case, it goes retrograde in your 10th house of work. It's in Aquarius. So you may notice, Taurus, that over the next, 5 months, you may get ideas around your career, your vocation, your work that says, hey, maybe if you do things differently, or if you consider doing things completely in a different way, you may get a very different outcome. So listen to those kind of insights. Same way as in you're shrugging off a person who's putting you down, with Pluto going retrograde in your 10th, there's room for new ideas to come in that say, the current version of you may not be working, but the future version of you might. So be open to new ideas and be open to doing things differently. And also what I want to tell you, Taurus, is that we have all the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars. They're direct all month. So it's all systems go. Expect very few issues when it comes to communication, transportation. Your ruler Venus is direct. So when it comes to giving life to things, new businesses, new relationships, new kind of creative works, anything that you can express, it's now time for you to do that without any back and forth and complications. And then Mars, the planet of ambition and drive, that's also direct. And it's at the very base of your chart, your roots. So it's really, your ambition is all about how can I create roots and structures in my life that support me and that allow me to have the space and the room and the dream to create the kind of life that I want. So I know the sun is in your sign of Taurus until the 20th. So the first 20 days of this month are your birthday. Give yourself the birthday present that says, do you know what? I am now going to build a different life if I'm not satisfied with the one I've got. I have my life force. I have all the energy in the world. I have freedom. I can choose to create my life in a way that I want it to be. And no one can tell me otherwise. I'm free. I'm not in prison. I'm a person who can live exactly how they want, when they want, and there's nothing that stops me from that. So in the first 4 days of this month, the moon starts in your second house of money, and it ends in your in your fourth house of your family and your roots. So that's the very base of your chart. And it says that get your ideas together, Look at what you can do differently. And if you want to build a big castle in the sky, now's the time to lay the foundations for that. Although with that example, that's kind of interesting that I picked that. What is it that I'm dreaming of, and how can I make it a real thing as of now? This is the first day of the rest of my life, and I'm going to use May to make it happen for myself. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 5th to the 11th of May. The moon is still in Leo on the 5th, so same thing. There may be conflict with family members. Don't be too shy or upset if there is any conflict, especially if it is with someone who's putting you down. On the 6th, 7th, and 8th, we've got the moon going into Virgo, and it goes into your 5th house of what you love to do work-wise, but also who you love. And Virgo is ruled by Mercury, the communication planet. Virgo is very much about being sensible, making meaning, and creating answers to things. So if you haven't been sure of what comes next in terms of what am I supposed to do with my life work-wise, what am I meant to be doing, you will find the answer. And also, if you've been in a relationship with someone and you haven't been quite sure whether they're the right person, or things have happened which haven't really delighted you, but you've kind of let them slide and said, let's see how this leads, and let's see how this ends up and what direction it kind of goes, and how it pans out. You'll be very clear on whether that person is right for you or not. So Taurus, I hate to break it to you, but I think it's a month of you making decisions, taking responsibility for your own life, taking accountability for who you are, where you're at. And if you're dissatisfied, saying, I'm going to make these changes so that I transform my life into one that I want to live. On the 6th and 7th, we have something really beautiful happening. The Eta Aquarids meteor shower takes place, and that's best viewed in the southern hemisphere. By the way, astrology is based on the northern hemisphere, but it doesn't matter whether you're listening to this in the northern or southern hemisphere. The energy is the same. And this meteor shower, it stems from the constellation of Aquarius. So it's going to give you an opportunity to see beyond the detail of your own everyday routine. And it's going to give you a chance to think about what would be best for humanity, for people as a whole. And I also think that it's a good opportunity to make a wish for someone in your life who you care about. And rather than saying, I wish to win the lottery, to say, I wish for Susan that she feels good about herself, or I wish for Sandra that she finds the love of her life. I think it's a good opportunity to wish something good for someone who's in your life, or for someone who you know. On the 9th and 10th, the moon moves into Libra, and that goes into your 6th house of daily routine and work. Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity. If you're trying to upgrade your appearance, these 2 days are great to do that. What do they call it these days? A glow up. If you want to have a glow up, 9th and 10th are the day to have that glow up. But also, it's a great 2-day period to work with people, to brainstorm, to work as a team, to connect with people. I expect very little conflict, or expect very few disagreements, unlike the beginning of the month. On the 11th, the moon goes into Scorpio, and that lasts into week 3 as well. It stays in Scorpio on the 12th and 13th as well. And that goes into your 7th house of relationships. And the moon in Scorpio is very intuitive, and it's very able to unearth hidden secrets and to get to the truth of the matter. And if there's anyone in your life who has been using you, or who has been telling you little fibs, or who has been in a certain relationship with you for any other reason than they genuinely care for you and they love you and they want the best for you. You're going to figure that out, and you're going to see through any of the nonsense that you've been fed, and you're going to get real clarity in terms of who's in your life for the right reasons and who really isn't. So what's interesting to me here, during the first 2 weeks of May for you, and it is your birthday for the first 2 weeks, that you really get to give yourself the birthday present to say, I'm going to throw out anybody who doesn't have my best interests at heart, and I'm only going to surround myself with people who really care for me as an individual, who want me to thrive and succeed, and who maybe even want to work with me so that we can thrive and succeed together as a team, as a unit. So in week 2, the moon starts on the 5th in your 4th house of family, and it ends up on the 11th in your 7th house of relationships. And that's pretty much your second quadrant, houses 4, 5, 6, and then it's the 7th house. So week 2 is about what is it that I love to do and who do I love? And what goes without saying then is what don't I want to do and who do I not love? So making the decision between who gets to stay in your life and who needs to make a quick exit, you'll really be able to have a bit of a spring clean here when it comes to the people you've allowed into your inner circle. Because, with that, you may think I'm stating the obvious here, but some people really don't try and succeed in their own right. Some people, instead of trying to study something, decide, I'm going to become a scammer and I'm going to try and take other people's money from them instead of doing something valuable myself. And in this case, some people may be in your life because they don't want to do the work for themselves. Maybe they want someone else to take care of them. Maybe they want to have someone to criticize or to put down. This is really your opportunity to bring in the good people, to hang on to the good people, and to get rid of the bad eggs. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, the 12th to the 18th of May. On the 12th and 13th, moon is still in Scorpio, so listen to your instincts, your gut when it comes to other people. Especially on the 12th of May, we have a full moon in Scorpio. That's when the moon reaches its completion point. It's fully illuminated. It showers you in its Scorpio energy. And if there's anything on an intuitive level that you feel as an unshakable truth, make sure you listen to that and you believe it, because it is going to be a truth that you can rely on. The 14th and 15th, the moon goes into Sagittarius and it goes into your 8th house of institutions and authorities. So if you have anything going on in terms of legal matters, you're dealing with the tax people, you're in negotiations about contracts, or you're considering investment, selling a house, buying a house. These 2 days allow you to make a lot of progress. So if you do have to sit down at the negotiating table, and you can plan around it a little bit, try and plan it in for the 14th and 15th. That's when you'll have the outcome that you're happiest with, that you're looking for. On the 16th, 17th, and 18th then, the moon goes into Capricorn and it goes into your 9th house of travel, education, and the higher realms. So in a literal sense, those 3 days, if you can, again, it is a good time to travel and to really be inspired by seeing new places you've never visited. It also means that anything that you come across, like a book on finance, for instance, and you've never looked into that, and you're interested and you start reading up on it, it could be something that then influences your work in future. So pay attention to what kind of comes across your desk and don't dismiss things. If there's interest, pay attention to it. And also, if you want to have a spiritual breakthrough, that's something that you can work at. That's something you can work towards using some type of spiritual practice. So in week 3, the moon starts on the 12th in your 7th house of relationships plural, and it ends up in your 9th house of travel and education. So that's the third quadrant. And really, this third week is about the people in your life, formal and informal, individuals, groups of people, and what direction you want to go in. So the key thing that keeps coming up for me, for you Taurus here, is that it's differentiation between what do other people in my life have to say, what do they want for me, and what do I want for me. And that's what started at the beginning of the month, on the 4th particularly, where there was conflict with someone who you were really close to. This is a month where it's really about you disengaging from any plans that have been laid out for you for your life, what you ought to be doing, where you really have very little say, and where other people have conspired to say, this is the way Greg is going to live his life. Well, maybe Greg has his own ideas about the way he wants to live his life, and this is your chance this month so far to escape those kind of well-laid plans and to live your life for yourself in the way that you want. So pay attention to what you are interested in, what you want your life to look like, and then make sure you pursue those things independently, and that anyone who tries to exercise undue influence over you and your experience, tell them to do one. Week 4, which really is pretty much half of the month. So it's Monday to Saturday, the 19th until the 31st of May. On the 19th and 20th, the moon goes into Aquarius and it goes into your 10th house of work. This is really good for you to do any work that requires public speaking, that requires you to teach or to get your point across. Also, we have Pallas and Pluto in there. Pluto is transformation and change, and Pallas is wisdom. So again, it may be that, yes, you can express yourself very well, but it may be that the wisdom of, hey, this job is really right for me, I love it, I want to keep doing it, that's something that could occur to you. Or the opposite could happen as well, as in, do you know what, I've been doing this for 5-10 years, but this really isn't right for me. You know, my auntie told me to do this when I was 18. I did it. Now I'm 28. I don't want to do this anymore. On the 20th of May, the sun goes into Gemini, and that goes into your 2nd house of money, and it joins Jupiter, the lucky planet, which is also in Gemini, in your 2nd house of money. Gemini is about problem solving, and it's about finding different doors to walk through. So if you want to leave something behind in your life, and if you want to make a fresh start in a different area, from the 20th onwards is the best time to do it. And that's what I get for you in May, Taurus, that the birthday present is that you don't have to live a life that no longer interests you anymore. You get to make changes, and you can move towards a life that fascinates you and that fills you with a lot of promise and hope and something to look forward to. On the 21st, 22nd, the moon goes into Pisces, and it goes into your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So pay attention to your actual dreams. We've got Saturn in there, structure, security, and we've got the North Node in there. If I'm looking at your natal chart, the North Node shows me what your life purpose is. And all of them are in that 11th house in Pisces. Pay attention to really what your you're being shown over this 2-day period, whether it's in your own subconscious mind or certain symbols that you see which have a really profound effect on you, or anything that kind of says, this is the way to go, this is the direction to move towards. I really think this is Taurus being upgraded to living the kind of life that you want to live, and that doesn't see you just going through the motions, but that is really designed for you to maximize your true potential. On the 23rd and 24th, the moon moves into Aries and it goes into your 12th house. And again, it's similar because we have Neptune in Aries. Neptune has been in Pisces for the last 14 years. It's the water planet of dreams and intuition. And in Aries, it's really all about take your dreams and make them a reality now. And we have Venus, your ruler, in there in Aries as well. And we have the asteroid Chiron also in your 12th house in Aries. So it's Taurus, heal yourself, take action on making your dreams a reality, and do that on your own. Build the kind of life that you've always wanted for yourself, by yourself, and despite what anyone else says. So any Tauruses who are kind of codependent or people pleasers, you may have a difficult time here because this really sees you breaking free and escaping the prison that's been designed for you, even if it's kind of a golden cage that you've been put in. You recognize that it is a golden cage and you want nothing else to do with it. On the 24th, Saturn also goes into Aries and it joins all those other planets in your 12th house. And Saturn is real certainty. So now it's time for me I have the foundation, I have the strength, I have the certainty, I know what I want to be doing, I know what I want to move towards, and I'm going to use all my energy to make that happen and to make that a reality. On the 25th and 26th, the moon goes back into your sign of Taurus. It rejoins Uranus and Mercury now, which is also in there in Taurus, on the 25th. And I think this is a day to really just feel more at ease with this new version that you've become, these new plans that you've laid out for yourself intuitively or literally. Either you've said, you know what, I'm going from accountant to jeweler, or I am no longer going to spend time with certain people in my life. Instead, I'm looking for something else. Or it's time to simply integrate all of that and to kind of sleep on it and to let it take root in you without you overthinking it. On the 25th of May, we've got Mercury moving into Gemini, the sign that it rules, and it joins your transiting midheaven, the Sun, and Jupiter in Gemini, all in your second house. So again, the focus is on how can I create more of an income for myself? How can I do that in a way that matches my personality, who I am, and the way I want to create abundance and prosperity in my life? And then on the 27th and 28th, we've got the moon joining Mercury in Gemini. And on the 27th particularly, we have a new moon in Gemini. So the new moon is when the moon starts its new 28-day cycle. It pulls in a ton of energy in order to get started. And for you, Taurus, it pulls in Gemini energy, which is problem-solving energy. So if you're a Taurus who has struggled with finances or creating financial independence for yourself, this is the month, especially this last week or the last 13 days of the month, are the time for you to get the answers on how you can become completely independent as far as your work is concerned. Then the 29th and 30th, the moon goes back into Cancer in your third house of communication. And again, it's time to look at the things that you're going to have to do to make these things a reality. Maybe things that are not the most joyous things. So if I want my own business, I'm going to have to register the company with Company House. I'm going to have to fill in the forms. I'm going to have to do all of these things. But also there's an opportunity to blast out any kind of negative thought patterns that you have about yourself, that you've let reside there, and to, you know, the expression you're letting things live in your head rent free. So low self-esteem, negative self-talk. It's time for you to evict those kind of things and to start thinking in a much more productive way. And then finally, on the last day of the month, on the 31st, we have the moon going back into Leo, and it goes into your fourth house of your roots. And it says, I am the emperor, I'm the king of my world, of my life, or I'm the queen of my, everyday experience. And anyone who crosses me and anyone who thinks they have power over me is in for a rude awakening, because things have kind of changed here in May. And I've realized that I'm the master of my own destiny, and I'm going to build the kind of life that I want for myself without anyone else's input or control specifically. On the 31st of May, Venus, your ruler, is at its greatest western elongation. So it's the best time of the month to see Venus, as it's going to be at its highest point above the horizon in the morning sky. So look for the bright planet in the eastern sky before sunrise and let that inspire you. And in this last 13 days of the month, the moon started on the 19th in your 10th house of work, and it ends up in your fourth house of your roots. So that's really the left-hand side of your chart, quadrants 1 and 4. So the last week, let me just double check, how many days is this? 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. It is 13 days. The last 13 days allow you to get ideas that are going to upgrade your life. So this is the way things are. This is what I see as responsible for the way my life is. These are the changes I'm going to make, and these are the different results that I can kind of imagine and picture in my mind's eye that are going to follow on from these different actions that I'm taking. So Taurus, I really want to encourage you that you can redesign your life here in May. It's a great month for you to free yourself of any undue influence and to live the way you want and to have a much richer, more prosperous time of it. So that's what I get for you here in May. I hope it gives you an idea of what you'll be working with. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on the button that says book your reading to order your reading with me, or click on the shop tab, takes you to the same place. In my personal readings, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth to draw up your natal chart. And if you don't have the time of birth, then I can use sunrise. But the problem with that is that it means the ascendant is off, and so are the house placements. So there's a process called chart rectification. That's a process where you send me 10 or more significant things that have happened to you in your life, and I manually work out your time of birth, which makes the chart much more accurate. And then if you have any questions about life purpose, vocational aptitudes, love, finance, travel, education, anything at all, I can answer those for you. To see what's coming up in future, I look at your progress chart, your transits, and if it's around your birthday, like it is here for you, Taurus, then what's also a good idea is a solar return chart. It shows me what's happening from your birthday this year until your birthday next year, what the key themes are, to look at actual locations that are going to work for you living wise. So whether it's best for you to live in St. Petersburg or in Cape Town or in Berlin or in Barcelona. Astrocartography is a wonderful tool that again is based on your birth chart, but rather than me being on planet Earth looking up, I reverse that and I see how the planets were moving over different parts of the world at the moment of your birth and how those places will influence you. So if you're interested in any of that, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. That's what helps it show up in the algorithm, which I find such like a dirty word almost, algorithm. Share this video. That's what helps this channel grow. And please subscribe for future videos. Check out some of my other videos as well on the new moons, the full moons. I also do a daily tarot reading on this channel. If you want to watch that, then please become a channel member. That would be awesome. I hope you have a wonderful month here, and I will speak to you soon. All the best. Take care.